Hey guys, um, Brian Hooper here. No podcast today, so I thought I'd do a little DFS strategy video. Peter Overzet is on a well-deserved vacation. Too much influencing lately. He needed a little break, so thought I'd throw this out there. I haven't done one in a while, and there's been changes, over since I've last released a video that I could probably do a bunch of these, but the one that I've been thinking about lately is it seems like most of the tournaments, or a lot of the tournaments, have become significantly top heavy, less flat in their payout structure. I don't think I'm the only one who's noticing this, and from what I've heard and read, it's on, they're doing it purposely because it just gets more customers. And so, I'll take them at their word, and that's, hey, the more customers, the better. But I think it might lead to some strategy changes for some player types. So, I mean, if you are, a winning player who maxes everything, you're probably not watching this video anyways. But if you are maxing everything, still continuing to max everything as long as you're properly bankrolled, is still going to be the strategy going forward. But for everyone else, you might not want to, too long didn't read synopsis. You might not want to be max entering a lot of these. So the reason, or the logic I use, and I've talked about this on the show or other places, where there's spots where you're plus EV, but you still shouldn't bet because you can't be bankrolled enough. So, for example, like when the lottery has these crazy rollovers week after week, and they get, into the billions, $500 billion, like those odds are better than the odds of winning the lottery. So, like, you actually are like a slight plus EV. I don't know if it takes taxes into account, but you get the idea. Like a slight plus EV there. But even Elon Musk, or whoever is currently the richest man on the planet, doesn't have the role to play that, theoretically, because they would go broke before they realize their expected value. So, although someone could like do a video and be like, no, here's the math behind why you should max enter and don't play if you're not max entering, because you're leaving EV on the table. It's like, yeah, okay, well, but most people are going to play anyways, and they're going to want to, most people don't max enter, right? And so for all those people, and people who don't know if they're plus EV or not, or even if you are plus EV, and it's this, I think of this kind of as a, not as dramatic, but like a kind of lottery situation, or at least to think about it that way. And so let me give you a couple examples. So this, I'm going to use FanDuel, but DraftKings does it too. But FanDuel's been pretty egregious, I think, on some of these structures where, so today is 20K slam, $33 buy-in. So it's 20,000 the first. Let me make sure this is up. Yeah, okay. 20,000 the first, 7,500 the second, right? And then by the time you get down to, you can't see with my beautiful face in the way, but by the time you get down to the 11th place is $300, right? So it's a significant decline. And this 7,500 is normally 10,000. And the flatter you get, you can get 12,500, 15,000, even would be a nice flat payout structure. So when it's this disproportional and exponentially, top heavy, you might want to reduce your entry amount and kind of like think of it more as a winner take all at this point. So like, let's say this was a winner take all, 20K. Would you max enter 106 entries here? Let's see if that's showing up. Yeah, 106 entries is their max for this contest. And you could see I have it here. It's $3,500 basically to max enter. So some like quick math when I'm looking at these and deciding whether I'm going to max enter them is I just divide the top prize by the max entry buy-in. So it's 20K to first divided by 3,500, right, is to enter the max. is okay. It's a lot of days. It's 5.7 basically, 5.7 to 1. So that means if this was a winner take all, you would have to win 1 in every 5.7 times. Take first, solo first. And so even though there's only 3,500 in this, and they can get much bigger than that. Obviously, like their bigger one here is 27.9. You're probably not winning 1 in 5.7 times, right? Unless you're one of the Burrito brothers or something. So but we aren't playing a winner take all, so you still have to take that into account. So when we go back here, you will take some of these and get some of your money back occasionally. What I would suggest is, although I think I did enter this one, and looking back, I probably shouldn't have. You kind of want that top prize closer to a 10 to 1 ratio, I think is fair. And the bigger the separation between first and second, the less entries I would put in. So like you want this to be like a $2,000 entry. So like $2,000 max center, it costs you $2,000. But since the separation is so big, I would even give myself more of a chance to get lucky and bank and think of it as a winner take all, and then do I don't know, let's say $1,000 is probably about right. So you're above the second place ratio of buy-ins compared to the first place, where you divide the total amount by the total cost of entries to max enter. Somewhere in there, like 1,000, 1,200 on this one. And I could show you other ones. I'm not sure if, let's see here. Okay, this one is about the same. So you'd want it like $15,000 a second. But let's see. So the first place is 30,000, right? Divided by, what's their max entries here? 6,800. So I can tell you already, that's not going to be great. That's not going to be a great ratio, right? So 30,000 divided by 6,800, 4.4 to 1. So that's nowhere near our 10 to 1. There's only 200 entrants in there, and this looks like it might actually... No, it's probably not going to get overlay. There's still a couple hours left. Yeah, but FanDuel's pretty brutal on these payout structures. But yeah, so when you're looking to enter something and you're like, I don't know if I should max enter or how many should I put in here, I would put, if you're a multi-entry type of player who will max enter a decent amount of time, I would go in between those odds of the second place and top place odds divided by the total entries. So, and you want to keep it between like 10 to 1 to 15 to 1, something like that. Now, the huge field ones, generally you'll never have a problem with that. You can almost always 15. You can almost always 150 those, like the whatever $10 buy-in, 100K to first, because the odds are almost always really good to first. There's a lot of, recreational players in there. The rake's higher, that sucks, but I wouldn't consider that. I'm more talking about these like side tournaments, the mid-stakes ones, and even single entries can get bad. So here's a perfect example. So I saved this from the weekend, PGA. So I entered the same 150 right into these two tournaments, and this isn't the Sunday results. This was after Friday, after the cut. So like if the tournament ended after 2 days, this is where I would have been. So this is the same 150, and you could see this one I'm almost profiting in the second one, and in the first one I'm down 50% of my money, right? Over 50%. Same 150. What's the difference? Well, second place in this 200K to first was 75,000, right? It was a huge drop. They made it really top heavy, and second place in this 50K I think was 20,000, which isn't perfect, but it's still it's a little better than this one. And so like the flatter the payout structure, the more you're going to be looking at this decent amount of return. And the more winner take all the payout structure, like you're going to have a lot of 10%, 20% days of that's what you get back. Even when you're not even that bad, right? Like you could see here, like it's not even, whatever. In a tournament, like this is pretty good, breaking even. And the same 150, and you're like, if I didn't enter this, I'd be like, God, I'm horrible. What am I doing? But then you enter this, like, oh, I got a shot over the weekend. So like, I would really consider entering. Don't just blindly enter everything. Look at that payout structure, and maybe you like winner take alls and everything like that. But I don't see the need to, unless you're 100% plus EV and totally bankrolled, to just blindly enter everything. Where if you want to kind of like have less variance, and a flatter payout structure, kind of be a little more selective with your multi-entering. And if you want to enter these other ones, maybe think about dropping the amount, getting more like that 10-to-1 ratio or less, and then take a look at what second place is and the divide there, because they're making tons of these, super top heavy. And it doesn't really change the strategy for me. I just enter different ones into different tournaments, but they're all like GPP lineups that I'm, adjusting for ownership, all the things I talked about in my old videos, and just trying to take firsts. So it's no different. And I've said this on the podcast and in videos, is like, you have no control whether you take second or seventh or first and third. There's a lot of times it's just like a quarter of a point or less. Even like 10th to first or 15th to first, like depending on the night. Like you have no control over any of that. So like, as long as you get like top 1% shots on goal, as someone might say, that's all you can hope for. And so the rest is really just like bankroll management, talking about, looking at which tournaments to enter. And then, just praying to the DFS gods and trying to get lucky. All right. I think that's long enough. I might even went too long here. But we have a podcast, and if you don't know, I have every Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, Lulz. It's on my channel and Peter Overzet's channel. So check us out. We also have it's also a podcast where you can download it, iTunes, or anywhere else where you can get podcasts. So I appreciate it. Have a good one.